I'm Dave Wood, your host today with Doug Mumford, and we have with us a very special guest, Vai Sikahema, who played for a long time in the NFL as a punt returner for the Arizona Cardinals. And that's got to be one of the most dangerous jobs in the NFL, isn't that right?
Yeah, it is. When you stand back there receiving punts, you're basically a free shot for anybody that can come down there and hit you because it's a live ball. So it was dangerous work. You work in a tight wire every day, but I did it for 8 years. Started with the Cardinals, then went to the Green Bay Packers and finished my career in Philadelphia, and I remained there working in local television. By the way, great honor to be with you guys in Morning Market Call. This has got a highlight from my career right here doing your show, Dave and Doug.
Appreciate that.
So now, I mean, you're not taking hits anymore on a weekly basis. You're working, you mentioned, for Philadelphia News and also for Deseret News as a writer for, and you cover BYU. And I know you've done a couple articles recently about our move to independence. Can you talk to us a little bit about the economic move of BYU's football move to independence?
Yeah, let me just correct you one thing here. When you work in Philadelphia in the media, you do take hits. So I'm still taking hits. Just not physically, but I'm still taking hits. The move to independence, I happened I loved it from the moment I heard that this was a possibility, that they were going to go independent. For a number of reasons. One, I think BYU will be able to chart its own course, and all the money that it makes will go into its own coffers. Whereas when you're in a conference, you have to share that money with all the other members of that conference. If there's 8, 9 teams in that conference, frankly, for the last decade since BYU's been in the Mountain West Conference, BYU has more or less carried that conference financially. Because, New Mexico, with all due respect to the Lobos, Wyoming, Colorado State, San Diego State, those programs don't draw. BYU draws eyeballs. And you know that when you watch them play on the Mountain Network, because all the advertising is from Salt Lake companies. It's real estate in St. George. It's Larry Miller's auto dealerships. Those are the companies that are advertising on the mountain. So clearly, BYU is driving that train, and in Utah for that matter. But now that we're becoming independent, I think it's a great move, and I think primarily because it's a church institution. More importantly for BYU is to get the message of the church out to the masses, and I think that's the more important thing. And BYU TV is going to use that, I think, for its own purposes, and I applaud them. I agree, and I think it's going to be a great move.
So we represent about 60 to 80% or so of the advertising on the Mountain Network. Now we no longer have any Utah school represented in the Mountain Network. So that doesn't bode well for whom we're leaving behind, I take it.
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to be tough for them to survive in these economic times without a BYU, without a Utah, who's now leaving, of course, the Pac-10, Pac-12. I think it's going to be difficult for them to survive because, if the eyeballs that are watching you are in Salt Lake, in the Salt Lake market, and they don't care whether Wyoming is playing San Diego State, I don't know how they're going to carry that off. I could be wrong. I'm not a business guy. You guys are. Maybe they'll be able to figure out a way to do that, but I can't see how the Mountain Network is going to survive without BYU and Utah.
Well, their answers so far have been the Boise region, and we have the Reno region, right? And I don't know if those quite make up for 60.
No, they're small TV markets. And Salt Lake is a small TV market in the grand scheme of things, but if 67% of the advertising comes from the Salt Lake market, that means they're watching BYU and they're watching Utah. So I don't know how they'll pull that off.
Well, it's obvious that there is a TV draw to the Cougars because ESPN was willing to enter into a long-term deal with us. So
that is clearly. I don't know that they could have gone independent without ESPN's help, because ESPN is the 800-pound gorilla. I mean, they really do. They wield enormous power in sports broadcasting. Clearly, they're the sports-wide leader, worldwide leader of sports, as their advertising campaign says. But with ESPN's help, I don't even think that, even without ESPN, BYU may have been able to schedule teams, because there's a lot of teams that want to play, that like to play BYU. BYU has a long history. Penn State they've played, Notre Dame they've played, Miami, all the big programs. BYU has played those programs, and they've played them competitively. They like the stadium coming here. But with ESPN's help, I'm telling you, I think they'll be able to chart their own course, and they'll make more money for the school. They'll do a great job for BYU TV. It's great all the way around. I think it's a great time to be in BYU football.
I agree, and I think we're seeing some of the dividends of those contracts. We've got new ones with Texas. We have Notre Dame coming up. We also have West Virginia. It was just announced.
Those of us who live back east are thrilled about that because they're coming to play at the Redskins Stadium. So all of us back east are going to get to drive over there and watch the Cougars play.
It's a very exciting time. So again, we appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah.
And,
hey, if I can get this tape, I'd like to use this in my resume tape.
All right.
Absolutely. We can certainly do that for you. So again, make sure to follow us on BYU Morning Market Call. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're everywhere. Go watch us, and we'll see you next time.
You guys are awesome.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Morning Market Call is brought to you by the Marriott School of Management in cooperation with the Brigham Young University Department of Communications. MMC is made possible by generous donations from Larry Tasjan and Gary Williams. This show was produced by Jeff Butler, Janessa Cloward, David Wood, and Doug Mumford, with line producing by Beth Grimmett. For more information, please follow us on Twitter and Facebook.